When was the last time you felt truly heard?
Hi, I'm Giulia.
And I'm Jazmín, and this is the Real Truth About Motherhood podcast.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you for being here.
This is our first episode. Very excited to be here.
Welcome to the Real Truth About Motherhood podcast. I'm Giulia, the creator and founder of the Real Truth About Motherhood movement.
And I'm Jazmín. I'm a motherhood and matrescence mentor and educator, and now I am part of the team of the Real Truth About Motherhood.
And today we would like to introduce ourselves, our stories, and why this podcast was born. Because this podcast is a space to share, to feel heard, and to feel supported. This is our first episode, so we are very nervous and excited, but we are here and we are very ready to start. So let's get started.
Let's get started. And for those of you who are just listening, and I just want to say I'm very excited we did this now. Just before you have another baby. Giulia here is 38 weeks, almost 38 weeks pregnant. So I think it's amazing we're doing this side of your pregnancy.
Yes.
So let's start from the beginning, shall we? Let's start with talking about our stories. No, how did we get into the motherhood journey? And why don't you start and tell us, Giulia, how was this process of becoming a mother for you?
My journey started 12 years ago when I was trying to get pregnant of my first daughter. I'm actually now pregnant again, 37 weeks on, and I was trying to get pregnant, and it wasn't easy for us. We were living in London, and it took us 8 years to get pregnant with 2 IVF treatment which failed. And we decided after many years trying in London, we decided to finally move to Barcelona. And in Barcelona, after the COVID and lockdown, we actually managed to get pregnant naturally.
And now you're pregnant again.
Yes, now I'm pregnant again, naturally. Miracle. It was a miracle actually, because I had my third IVF treatment already booked, and actually I got pregnant, and it was we found out on the 22nd of February, and this baby is coming on the 22nd of February.
Wow, this is the stars aligning,
yes,
magic
exactly.
happening.
And we met with my husband on the 22nd of February. So it's all happening at the right time.
It's perfect.
And when I became pregnant, I thought pregnancy would have been amazing, a very joyful time, as everyone told me about it. It's the time you are glowing, you are amazing, you feel amazing. But it wasn't like this for me. I didn't feel amazing. I didn't feel glowing. I felt lost. I felt overwhelmed. I felt lonely. And I was feeling a bit guilty as well, because after trying for so many years, I was feeling like, how can I be like this? How can I feel so sad?
Like you should enjoy it, no?
Exactly. And I didn't know what to do. I didn't know who to talk with about, and it was really hard. And then I decided to create a small group of pregnant women, because that's what I needed. I needed connections. I needed to share my experience, and I needed to share what I was feeling. And that's when I created a small group of pregnant women. And at first no one came, and then slowly we became a group of 60 women, and it was amazing. That's what made me feel good again, sharing my experience, listening to other women, and feeling heard, feeling supported, feeling understood, because what I felt then, it was like no one was understanding me, and it's the same I'm feeling now.
But it's amazing, no? How meeting other women, surrounding yourself with other women can just make a huge difference, no?
So much. And so then that group really helped me But then when I gave birth, it was impossible to keep organizing a gathering with these women. And when my husband went back to work, he was working in hospitality, motherhood really hit hard because I was on my own every night, putting the baby to sleep, and all the struggles that you have when you are on your own with a baby. It was very hard for me, and I managed to go through it for 2 years, and I would say I survived this situation. I was in a survival mode until I realized that I was actually losing myself, and I was talking with people, with my family and with friends, and everyone was telling me, what did you expect? And I don't know, I didn't expect that.
Yes.
I mean, I expected something beautiful, amazing, and it was amazing. It's a beautiful journey, motherhood, but it is really hard. And it's a big transformation, and we are not, I mean, most of us are not ready for it, and I was not. But after 2 years, I decided to find myself again, and I started therapy. I started to find time for myself, and that's when I started my journey to find myself again. So enough about me. Let's give the word to Haz, and let's listen to her story.
So my daughter, it's about to turn 9. Her birthday is on Saturday. And I can't believe it's been 9 years of being a mom. And actually coming to this time of the year when it's her birthday, it always makes me reflect on my own becoming of a mother, no? And I've been reflecting about this time as we get near to her birthday. And for me, becoming a mother was very unexpected. You know, when I was pregnant, for me, I was joyful. You know, I loved pregnancy. I had some pains and niggles, but overall, I enjoyed it. But my only fear, or what was worrying me back then, I remember, was preparing for birth. That was my kind of, for me, that was a milestone. You know, I have to get this baby out of my body in some way, and I need to focus on how I do that. And so I did a lot of preparation and all the training and workshops and hypnobirthing and reading and all that to prepare for birth. And so I felt prepared. And when I got to that part, it was not what I expected it to be. It kind of, everything went the other way around. And long story short, had a bit of a traumatic birth experience. No, I didn't feel in control. I didn't feel listened. I didn't feel heard. I felt, like a piece of meat. So all the things that can lead to postpartum depression or postpartum trauma or birth trauma happened. Not necessarily was dramatic in a way that no one's life was at risk, but for me it felt traumatic. And that kind of landed me into my first months of motherhood, feeling fear, feeling afraid. I've lost my confidence. I felt vulnerable. I didn't feel strong to look after my daughter. So it was a hard time, and it was a very hard moment of trying to pull myself from the very low. And I was never diagnosed with postnatal depression, and that's the thing now years later. I know maybe it was not postnatal depression, but that beginning wasn't great, and so it was hard. And then as I was trying to pull myself together, getting back to who I was, getting back to work, I found out that I was pregnant again. I was not ready. I was not ready at all. I just, the idea of going through postpartum, birth, all over again, just terrified me. But for me, that was like a big, moment, because it was like hitting bottom. No, I had to do something. I have to work on this. I need to heal this trauma. I need to work on this to give birth to another baby. And so I did. So I did therapy. I did a lot of physical work, and just mindset work to prepare myself to become a mother again. And when my second son was born, my birth was amazing. My birth was incredible. I felt like a lioness. I felt powerful. I did my body this amazing thing.
Amazing.
So I felt like that second birth helped me heal that first traumatic experience.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, absolutely. It's interesting because I think my son met a different version of me. So I was a different mother to my daughter than I was for my son. And I know, so people say that, siblings get the same upbringing, but I don't think that's true. I think, we're such a different version of ourselves, and we change with every child. With the second one, it's like, he's going to sleep when he's going to sleep. He's going to sleep next to me. That's fine. I just need to sleep as well. So we're going to figure this out. So just soften, no?
Yeah. After 4 years, my daughter is 4 years old. I feel like a different woman. I have changed so much. I've learned so much about myself. That's why I feel like it's going to be a different experience and probably better, because I feel we learn so much from our children, and by being a mother of ourselves, that teach us to be a different person. It's such a transformative journey, motherhood, and that's why this podcast is born.
Yes, absolutely. And now that you're talking about that, tell us what brought you to do this work now with to create this movement.
So as I mentioned, after 2 years of my daughter's life, I felt like I needed to go back to myself, to find myself, and that's when I started therapy, and I started to understand that motherhood was such a big transformation in our life. Yeah, my story, I feel like my story is the birth. My story is the story of two births. One was the birth of my daughter after so many years of waiting and tears and hope, and one was the birth of this movement, which was born from the need and the strength of creating something for other women to not feel the same as I did. And from my daughter, I learned that vulnerability is a strength. And from this movement, I learned that this strength can change life. And it feels really amazing and rewarding. And the last year, finally, after a temporary job with the Mobile World Congress and fair that I was working with, they didn't renew my contract, and I decided that it was time to change my life and follow what I really wanted to do. And actually, I went back to my diary and I read when purpose me. Passion. And I read when passion meets purpose, that's when magic happens, and that's what happened to me. I actually decided to stop looking for corporate job and to focus on what was my real purpose. And my real purpose at that time was to connect other women in the same in motherhood, to give them an opportunity to share experiences and to learn more about motherhood. And that's how the Real Truth About Motherhood project started. Now our mission is to redefine motherhood in the society, in the workplace, and in the education. In the society, we are doing it through events and this podcast. So now during this second pregnancy, what I've learned is that I should be expressing my feelings and my emotions the way they are. That's what I didn't do it during my pregnancy, because I was feeling like a bit guilty not to feel so happy as everyone else, so glowing and so joyful, and I was keeping it for myself, and I was feeling sad and depressed, and I was like, what's happening? But now I'm expressing it. I'm telling everyone the way I feel, because it's a feeling, and there are no good or bad feelings. There are just feelings, and we should we should get them out.
Yes.
And when you do, you feel much better. And actually, my husband, for example, understands me better now that I can tell him the way I'm feeling. So this is the reason why we created this podcast, in order to share real stories and to make sure that other women can resonate with other stories and can feel supported, can feel heard and not judged.
And I think with every story that we share, I hope that at least one person who's listening can feel heard, listened, or seen.
Yeah. So now, Haz, tell us about your journey in the motherhood field. How did you start working in this field, and how did we meet?
Yes. So my work with mothers started when my second son was about 6-7 months. I felt like I wanted to go back to work, and just the idea of going back to a corporate world like you and working back to marketing and advertising, it just didn't feel right for me at the moment, having two small, a new baby and a small toddler. And I knew I wanted to do something different. I wanted to support mothers, and I felt this call to be surrounded with women and support other mothers in the process of becoming mothers. I didn't want mothers to feel the way I felt when I first became a mother. And having experienced a completely different experience with my second one, I thought, things can be different, and I want to help mothers have a better transition into motherhood. And I started doing some things and doing workshops, and it was different, very different what I did, how I started to what I do now. I created the Mothership London, and it was about creating connections, connecting women with support that was available. And it was a way to say, you're not alone, and people feel that, and women feel that they're not alone. But then things happened, life happened, and there were kind of two things that really changed the way I was working, or the way I'm working with women. And the first one was, it happened during the pandemic. It was COVID, and we were living in South Africa. We were going to be there for 4 months. My husband was working away from where we were living in Johannesburg 4 days a week. And I was just moving actually into a new season of motherhood. My son had just turned 1. He was learning to walk. My daughter, she was about to be 3. So she was going through those terrible 2-3 tantrums. And it was very difficult. I found that I was not coping. I felt very stretched and overwhelmed, and I was becoming not the mom that I wanted to be. I was being that mom that I said I was not going to be. I was shouting, I was reactive, I was resentful, and I was not the mom that I wanted to be to my kids. And just then, to make things worse, because that's how life works, COVID started. So we made the decision to go back to London, which that was where our home was, and go back to London where we felt more safe to face this pandemic. And we just got there. We arrived to London during lockdown. So we went from, being in a house in South Africa with a garden to being the 4 of us to a small flat in London. My husband was working from home, and I already felt really stretched. So when we got there, I thought something needed to change. I'm not being the parent I want to be. I'm not happy as a mom. And I realized that the answers were not in those parenting books that I was reading. I was trying to be the conscious parent and all these things, but I was not managing. And I knew the answer was inside me. So I signed up for a mindfulness course for stress management. And with that, I started the journey of working with myself as well. And the second thing that happened around that time as well is that a friend of mine told me this word. She told me about Matrescence. And she said there was something about the process of becoming a mother. And I had 2 kids. I've been a mother for 3 years, and I've never heard this word before. So it really caught my attention. So I went back home and I started to research about it. And it it opened a new world for me. I understanding about matrescence explained to me what I was going through, what I had been going through for the last 3 years.
It's just a discovery, right?
It's amazing, you know.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the missing piece. It was that this was what I was missing to make sense of what I was living. You know. And I knew it then, that this is what I was meant to do with my work with moms. So I kind of gave my whole work with moms a different, purpose and a different direction. These two things helped me kind of guide, and had been guiding my work and my journey with supporting moms. I started with a walk. I created a walking group in London. And then I was called to create more intimate spaces. I started the mother circles to gather women and mothers to safe spaces, to have honest conversations about what their experience of motherhood was really like. And, fast forward a few years, we moved to Barcelona, and I met you. And I met you, and we had this conversation, and you were talking about your plans, and we felt so aligned. And we had the same vision and the same mission. We wanted to create safe spaces for honest conversations. And it took me a while to get to join you in this movement.
Yeah, because sorry if I interrupt, but last year, as soon as she was the first speaker I contacted, and she was super aligned with what I was doing, and I liked her way. We basically clicked straight away.
Yes.
So I asked her, "Do you want to be part of the project?" And she was like, "No, and I'm starting my project, so I want to focus on that." Yeah. So she left it until this year. Again in September, we met again before our last event in Valencia, and she was like, "Actually, I want to be part of the project."
Yes, I want to get more involved.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So she's part of the team now, and it's amazing.
And it feels good, and it feels really aligned. I'm very excited to be part of this project, and I'm very excited of this new stage that we're starting together this year.
Yeah, talking about Matrescence, I didn't know this word either, and I started to learn about it by reading books, and yes, it's amazing, and no one talks about it, and it's so interesting. So can you tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, sure. And Matrescence is essentially, it's a developmental process all women experience as we become mothers. So what that means is that it is a transformation that every woman goes through, and it touches every area of a woman's life, and even though each experience is unique and everyone has a very different experience of matrescence, it can touch your relationships, it touches your of course your body, your identity, your values, it touches your career, it touches you even to the deepest areas, like existentially, spiritually. So it's profound. And the thing with Matrescence is that it creates or gives us a bit of context in our experience of becoming mothers. For me, it gave me the language that I needed to understand myself and to talk about my own feelings and experience with other people. I was struggling to explain my partner how I felt. I didn't find the words. I didn't know how to explain it. And just understanding more about Matrescence helped me explain him, because I understood myself better. I could explain to him how I feel and why I feel the way I felt. And also helped me gave myself permission to change, to say I don't have to be that person I used to be. Matrescence is that combination of words, maternity and adolescence, and then it is that similarity with adolescence, that the way we go through adolescence when we're girls to become adults, the same way when we're women we go through matrescence to become mothers.
Yeah, amazing. So interesting. And actually I think every time I talk with my mother, I understand how in the past they were not obviously the word Matrescence was not there. No one was talking about the transformation, the changes, and women they didn't feel free to say what they were going through, and now that I'm talking with my mothers, I'm telling that how am I feeling, she's like, yeah, but we were feeling the same. We were not just saying it, we were just surviving and living this situation without support, without telling anyone.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that because everyone has done it in the past, we should keep doing it. Actually, we can change it and we can live it better by understanding what we are going through and how can we have a better motherhood, by knowing what we are going through.
Yes, and actually, when I first, what happens to women and what happened to me is that before I knew and understand matrescence, I thought, this is what motherhood's like, and this is what's supposed to be a mother. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, exactly.
And it doesn't mean that you won't go through challenges, but just having some context and understanding of some predictable things that you may experience just can give you a lot of, support, no?
Yeah. I mean, now that I'm pregnant and there are days that I'm feeling super sad and super depressed, and I feel like I'm wrong. Why am I feeling like this? I shouldn't be feeling like this. But that's what it is, because so many things are changing in our brain, in our body, our hormones, everything.
Yeah.
So it's okay. We need to find a way to accept it. But as we know if we know what's happening, it's easier to accept it. I think knowledge, information make us stronger.
Yeah, and also, I think a part of us is we need to accept this things that we're going through a transformation and we are changing. But I think also knowing this and informing ourselves helps us have more agency about our experience, and talk to people about it. And hopefully in the future, everyone will understand matrescence the way we understand adolescence today.
Yeah.
And I believe that this support for mothers and care for mothers should be informed about matrescence and founded in the matrescence experience, and everyone should know about it.
Yeah.
Is that support that we do give mothers means that she's going to be able to be a better mom for kids, and kids are going to grow into better members of the society and members of the community, and eventually when you care about the mom, you create a better world.
Absolutely. I was listening to a podcast yesterday and they were talking about the best countries to live when you are a mother, and they change your life when you are living in a country where they understand this. And this lady was talking about Denmark, and as soon as you give birth, the doctors tell you, if you are not okay, here there is the psychiatric center and you can talk to the psychiatric. I mean, it's normal, that you can feel bad.
Yeah.
And that's so good.
I think Denmark as well. I'm not sure which country that I will check, but I think also in Denmark they place moms after giving birth. They place you into your local mother support group, which is basically a mom circle. Where the moms come and share their experiences. Yeah. And this is funded.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
Also, kids are the future. With no kids, there is no future. So people should understand that and take care of mothers and support them in a way that we can keep having kids and having a future for everyone. Yes. Motherhood is not an individual issue, but it's more, it's not a mother's problem, but it's a society and community responsibility, and everyone should take care of that. I mean, we should all have a therapist after becoming a mother and should be free.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah.
And we could talk about this for hours, no?
For hours.
About our experiences, but this is the space where it's not just about us. It's about getting more and more diverse experiences and perspectives and real stories, no? So what for the people who are listening and who are interested in learning more, what can people expect from listening to this podcast?
Yeah, so we are gonna have women who have changed their life and their career because of motherhood. They have found their purpose, and they are gonna tell us about that. And they will talk about all the struggles on the way and all the amazing things that are happening, but also the way you can overcome to these struggles, how they did, and then you can choose what's
Yes.
the best way to overcome your struggle. I, as has said, thinking about having a baby, when you don't have one, you think, oh, it's going to be okay. I'm an event organizer, and I have organized the events for thousands of people, and I thought, what is going to be organized the life of a baby? And
Simple.
simple.
As a
I mean,
baby.
it's the most
They just
difficult thing. I mean, organizing my life with my family is the most difficult thing I have ever done, and we are still struggling with my husband and our 4-year-old girl. So I don't know how it's going to be with two, but it's going to be even harder.
You'll be
But
fine.
it is really hard, and it's just that I don't think it's people talk about it enough. It's like people don't want to complain about this, but it's not about complaining. It's about sharing experiences and understand
Yes.
how you can overcome struggles.
Absolutely, and I also think it's not, it's not about complaining, but it's about being honest, as well, because you're sharing your story and sharing your version of your experience can help someone
Absolutely.
who might be going through the same thing and thinking that she's the only one, and it's not the truth. You're not the only one.
Exactly.
So if you're listening to this, you're gonna hear about a lot of people going through challenges that are similar to what you're going through.
So that's what we want to make sure that our other women can feel the same and can express their emotion and their feelings without feeling judged.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I must say that every time I talk with another woman and I listen to her story and their struggle, I feel, I don't want to say I feel better, but I feel less alone.
Yes.
I feel like we are all living the same, and we should be supporting each other instead of living it silently and alone. And also we want to make sure that we are talking about all the seasons of motherhood, because motherhood doesn't stop when your baby is becoming a toddler or a teenager. Motherhood is forever, and every phase is a challenge, and we want to make sure that every mother can feel supported at any stage.
Yes.
And resonate with our stories and because there isn't only one real truth about motherhood, but there are many, and we are going to share all these stories in this podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's going to be real conversation. It's going to be every monthly, but at the moment, as I'm giving birth in 2 weeks,
Immediately.
it could happen now. And it's going to be in English and Spanish, as we are based in Spanish, and most of our community is Spanish, so we don't want to leave that. So Haz is going to take over the conversation in Spanish, and I'm going to do the English ones. And you can find us on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We've got a website where you can find all our information, a newsletter, an Instagram page. So
You can't miss it.
yeah,
We're easy to
exactly.
find. Yeah, and also this is a podcast that if you know someone who is giving birth, who is struggling in motherhood, share it, spread the word. And also, this is not just for moms. I think if you are a father, if you know a mother in your life and you want to understand a bit more of what they're going through, you also should listen to this podcast.
Absolutely. So
Great.
thank you very much.
I'm very excited. So I can wait to start listening to the different episodes.
Thank you very much, and see you at the next one.
See you in the next episode. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.